Hey, what is up, team? I'm just here setting up the video so you can all see it pretty well. Okay, so in the job description, you ask about, what experience, what tables have I built with clay. Sorry. So I'm going to explain one that I built in my last company. I asked for access here, and it's basically a mix of things combined into one. Okay, there's a bunch of different tools involved in this, but I'm going to show you the logic, which I think is the one that makes the most sense. So this particular company works with German pharma. Okay, so they have a very small pool of leads. So you can't be just reaching out to them all the time, because if not, you're just going to burn these bridges with them. Essentially, at the end of the day, you actually know who you're talking to in most cases. So the way we kind of did it was we want to split the leads into two types. We have two segments: tier ones and tier twos. Let's say enterprise and SMBs. Okay, so what I realized was that companies were most likely to purchase from us when a few things happened. So when they showed some intent signals. What intent signals were these? It was when they had just gotten FDA approval for one of their drugs that they were working on, or EMA approvals. Okay, so how does this translate to clay? Very simple. The first thing I did was find an RSS feed that would capture all of this information. This is a highly regulated market, so all of this data has to be made public. There's very strict regulation they need to comply with. So it's you can find the latest FDA approval and all that. So I created this RSS feed table, and here you can see all the different feeds. So these are different elements. We know at Horsham, you approved the supplemental drug application. So anyway, here we have kind of the rough content. There's not much you can do with that. So we need to kind of process it and make it useful. So what I did was I had a few different AI columns enrich it. So I needed to take out, first of all, what company is it? Then I want to know, is this a tier one or tier two? We want to focus on tier two companies, because for the tier ones, we have account executives and they know these people on a first name basis, essentially. So we don't want to do anything with tier ones. So, okay, we find out the company from all this information. Then I want to know more about the particular event that happened. What is the name of the drug? What is the mechanism of action? What is the indication it is used in? All these different things that I'm then later going to use to craft a completely personalized message to this particular person that's going to receive it. Okay, so yeah, we have here all this data, and I do it once on this table. That way you only consume one credit per, or credits per company. If you did it later on, you would consume credits per lead. Okay, and you might have more than one lead. You will probably have more than one lead per company. Okay, so we have all this different information and all that. And also I need to find the website for the company. In some cases, it's not so easy. I guess this was built quite a while ago, so it's probably a little bit different. Now, another thing to keep in mind is we didn't have the tier of clay that had the live connection with HubSpot. So what I did to get around this, I would dump the entire CRM as a CSV into this, and I would have it cross-check the data to see if it was there already, to see if we had any contacts already in this company. So then we could save these credits. Okay, so this would be that table. I can't show it for obvious reasons. And this is the find people table. So once we have all the companies that have been generated in the RSS feed, we go and we find people within these companies. And in here you can see it takes also the, sorry about that. It takes the tier from the previous tab, and it finds all the information about them. All of this information is brought from the other table, so you're not generating anything. And what I do is I capture all of the leads that exist for this company. This does not cost credits. What costs credits is if you personalize it, if you enrich it in any way. So right now, I just generate them for all, because I don't mind if it's tier 2 or tier 1. It doesn't really matter. So what else? Then I have all the different information here pulled in from the other page, and I separate all the data. Now here is this particular column, which is the one that checks if we have this data already on our HubSpot. Okay, and if it does, it'll pull up the email, and if it doesn't, and it also there's a lead score here based on certain words found in their job title, and it'll give it a score of 0 or 10 depending on certain parameters. So I'm looking for ideally tier 2 companies, so leads in tier 2 that are lead score 10, and for generating any kind of email or anything like that, I want it to not exist already on my CRM. Okay, so another thing I like to do just as a backup, so to have a table that I can share with other people, is upload this data directly to a Google Sheet, and that's just, they don't mess around with the table, they don't waste any kind of credits. So now I have all this information on the lead, I have it qualified, I know if it's valid or not, and next step is going to be generating messaging for this person. So the tool I used was Lemlist, and for one single reason, it has everything involved. You have LinkedIn and you have email in the same tool. Okay, so what I did was a multi-channel approach. You try on LinkedIn, you engage with them a little bit to build a little bit of familiarity. So you show up on their feed, like you visited their profile. Then it'll try sending a connection request. If they accept, I send the message. If they don't, it automatically goes to email. Another option there would be to, if they don't respond to the email, send it out to an SDR and they can call. Here, I'm just generating the messages for the ones that meet all the criteria. So tier 2, lead score 10, and email that we have, okay? And you'll see here in some cases it's not completing. It's going to be very rare that there was a lot of leads in this particular list that weren't matching, so it would require a little bit more fine-tuning. And it would then add all of this stuff, all of the messaging, everything to Lemlist, and then it would go out through there. I then compiled a little kind of dashboard on Google Sheets just to kind of keep track of the quality of the data that was coming in, and also because the RSS feed highly skewed towards tier 1 companies, but this we just kind of realized after running it for a while. Okay, and this is pretty much it. This is a quick example. I would also include in some cases a human in the loop for messaging that goes out. So get a quick message on Slack to just give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or any kind of suggestions that you would want to change. And that's pretty much it. So really quick to sum it up. FDA approval, we find the company, we take the information from the RSS feed, we tailor it, we find people, and we craft a message for this person in particular, and then we test different channels to see what resonates best with this lead. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.